What's up? What's up? What's up? All right. I am live now. Sorry I had a little bit of technical difficulties, but I think we have this good. Probably should tweet this out, but let's see. Let me try to tweet this out real quick. See what I got. But yeah, we're going to be talking about is APSC dead? Because a lot of people have been talking about that, and I got a few things that I want to say about that, because I don't believe it's true. So let's see. If I could just tweet this out, we'll be all right. Forget it. Whoever comes. They should get notified, even though YouTube is not the greatest at that right now. Y'all like the shirt? All right, so we're gonna get right into the topic. Let me just make sure that that's all right. Hopefully there's no echo. Anyone can tell me if the audio is good. Let me know, just so I don't have any issues. Okay, so a lot of people have been saying that they think APS-C might be dead due to the A7 III. Part of that is because you can afford, because for only a few $100s more, you can get the A7 III, where you have the A6300 and A6500. They both started out at around $1,400, give or take, which were very affordable. So if Sony makes a new mirrorless APS-C camera, everybody thinks that it'll be around that same price. I think we'll be $12.99 to $13.99. So will it actually be worth getting a smaller sensor when for only a few $100 more you can get the actual A7? So for only a few $100 more you can get the A7, the A7 III, which in my opinion is a better buy. But does that mean APS-C is dead? No, by no means it is not. APS-C is still amazing. I think that if what you can afford is a APS-C camera like the 6300 or the 6500, the camera and the quality is still top notch. In fact, I had a A7R II that I had for several years, and when I got my A6300, I started shooting more videos on it because the image quality was just that much better. In fact, for videos, it wasn't just that much better in sharpness because it was a 6K downscaled to 4K, but the autofocus blew it away. I mean, my A6300 was mainly my vlogging camera, and obviously there is no articulating screen, so I just had to trust that I was in focus, and I would say 98% of the time I was in focus. Now, yeah, for framing and stuff, but the more you use the camera, the better you get with it, with the framing stuff. That obviously, if you're framing a tight shot, that's different, but when you're vlogging, you want a wide angle lens. I was just using the kit lens. Most people rip on that kit lens and they have no clue. I guess they just don't know how to use it. I mean, the image quality still comes out fantastic. And I'll probably give a few tips that how I use the kit lens, which is right here. But I use a variable ND filter when I vlog. I know you can put it in aperture priority, but to me, then you're losing that cinematic feel, because now your aperture, you're losing that 180-degree rule. But when you use this, I mean, it takes 2 seconds to look at the back of the screen, make your adjustments, and then there you go, boom, shoot some B-roll, whatever you're doing. And to me, it works out just fine. Planned, and you don't have to have that issue. So again, if in today's market you can only afford a A6300 or A6500, right now the prices on those two cameras are extremely low, very affordable. I think you should definitely consider getting it. The only reason to get a A7 III is if you need the full frame, and most people don't understand the difference between that full frame and the APS-C. The quality is, yes, there's a noticeable difference if you know what you're looking for. But for the price, if you don't have the $2,000 to spend, then by all means, A6300, A6500, there is no rush to go get those things. The cameras still function amazingly. I think these things are, for bang for your buck. I still think that this is worth getting, especially if you're gonna get another lens and stuff like that. You don't even have to, like when I had my, what I would consider my APS-C, like my T3i, I didn't invest in APS-C glass. I invested in actual full frame glass, right? So I had full frame glass to go with it. Because I knew if I ever jumped in for full frame, I needed to be able to use it. So it only makes sense. So I'm not worried about the lens selection when it comes to APS-C. And I still think they have a good enough selection when it comes to that stuff. But when it comes to full frame, what Sony has done hasn't killed the APS-C lineup, because I think with this potential of the I believe is the A6700, what people are calling it, A6700. I think if they introduce the 4K 60p, because if you just follow what Sony's trend has gone through, when what they have done is really even their APS-C models, sometimes in a lot of occasions they have outperformed the actual full frame capabilities. So if they're going to continue that, how are they going to continue that? I think there's a chance that they improve the body size, which then increases the battery. And if they use this same battery on the APS-C body, imagine that, having this battery, the Z battery on the APS-C model, would be mind-blowing right there. And then if you add 4K 60p, why wouldn't they add that? If they still want that lineup to succeed, why wouldn't they put that 4K 60p? That would be huge. I think by them possibly adding a bigger battery, and maybe they take away, like with the 6500, they had in-body stabilization. There's a chance that maybe they can't afford to do that because overheating if they do 4K 60. If they did 4K 60, added a bigger battery, and this could be a possibility. I'm not sure. I don't have any sources, but actually have an articulating screen, it might be the greatest vlogging camera of all time. So, I mean, seriously, that could be potentially the best vlogging camera of all time to date, if they add all these things. So will that then everybody go and jump on the APS-C lineup again? Of course, that's the trend. Sony puts something out, something new, and everyone jumps to that. So again, I love my 63 and 6500. They work fantastic. In fact, you're seeing myself on the 6500 right now. So I love this camera. I'm using the 18-0105 right now. It's a beautiful lens. It's an APS-C lens, and if you know your equipment, you know what the value of it is, then you'll be just fine. So I don't think that the APS-C lineup is dead whatsoever. I think they made it more difficult for people, especially when people listen to others who just kind of put out their opinion without having any real fact check behind it. And a lot of people have built their channels on that, actually. But I do want to talk about this real quick. In Sony rumors, this is obviously, we're talking about Sony, so we're going to continue on this path. This Sigma 70mm f2.8 ARC from Sigma, whoo, it's a macro. A 70 millimeter for the price for 569. Are you guys seeing this? This is crazy right here. This is amazing. I mean, more and more people are definitely going to be jumping on from Canon and Nikon to go to Sony with all this new glass set, Sigma, Tamron. Oh, by the way, I in my previous videos I talked about should I go with the 24 to 105, and then this Tamron came out. I'm going with the Tamron. I want that 28 to 75. I think that's a outstanding focal length, and from everything we know about this thing, the autofocus is almost like native glass, and the image quality is superb. Actually, we have a few people. David Ulster did a little video here. I'm actually gonna play this video. I hope I don't get struck with a copyright strike, but hey, you know, I should be able to play this video because I am commenting on it. So let me just turn off my webcam and then play this video. So let's go from here. Let's go here.
G'day everyone, I'm David from Obsolete Images. I've been really lucky in getting a look at this new Tamron lens. It's just been announced or released. It's going to be released basically at the end of this month.
It doesn't really give you any examples because it's just a loaner and they're not allowed to use the image quality yet, but
Australian when it's
I'll let
actually
y'all
released.
listen.
I can't get over the size that this lens actually is. It's really light, but looks like it's really well made. And I can't wait to have a look at it. And we're going to have a look at it in a minute on the camera. Now, we can't take photos at this stage because it's not released yet, but we can certainly have a look at how it focuses, and that's what we'll concentrate on today. So if you do have any questions about that, just let me know down below and I will answer them as well. And it's going to obviously be available in all the camera stores here in Australia, like Michael's or DigiDirect and all the other big camera stores that are actually here. Obviously, if you're overseas, you'll get it from different locations, but I'm doing it from an Australian perspective for this one. So yeah, so we'll have a look at that now and let me know what you think.
Okay, so sorry about the reflection here, but it was just really bright outside. But I've got Kiara standing here, and you can see that I'm holding the AF on button. I've got back button focus on. You can see the green box that's going around Kiara, and I've asked her to move around reasonably fast, and it was actually tracking amazingly. And there I've put eye detect on, so you can see that it's grabbing her eye, and I've asked her to move backwards and forwards. The second that I press the back button, it immediately focuses. It's actually extremely quick. From what I've assessed doing this test, it's actually as fast as using the native Sony lenses that I've got. So I was really quite surprised about that. It really is working well. You can see the second that I press the button, it immediately grabs focus. I've asked her here to keep moving around. And you can see that it hasn't missed at all. Immediately when you press, there's no delay. It's basically grabbing the focus straight away. You can see it shooting into. Unfortunately, I couldn't take images, but the results from what I've seen here look like it's really good. Again, you can see her move.
So yeah, as you can see, the image quality is really, really good. And the autofocus seems to be almost native. So it's one of those things that I think Tamron knocked it out of the park. And then having it at a price of $7.99 is really, oh man, a 2.8. Having f2.8 on a what you can consider 24 to 70. This is giving you 28 to 75. I think you get a little bit more reach, and remember, when you're using a full frame mirrorless camera, it's definitely a lot better when it comes to the actual performance of the whole thing. So you've seen the autofocus test. It really is a lens that I'm considering of picking up. It's almost a done deal. I'm gonna pick it up. Just waiting to sell a few things, but we'll see from there. And then so you have Tamron coming out with an amazing glass, and then you have this 70 millimeter that's what is the price of this thing again? Let's see, under 600 at 569, which is considered a macro. I mean, whoo, there is a lot of love when it comes to what Sony is doing, and these other name brands really making lenses, more glass that really can reflect on the capability of this camera. So I'm really pumped about it. I would love to hear what you guys think. And when it comes back to what the video was about is this A7 series actually killing off the APS-C? I don't think so. I think time will tell. And what I mean by that is if they don't do something big with the next iteration of the APS-C lineup, if it's not the A6700, I heard rumors of an A7000, something like that, that doesn't really provide anything better than what the 65 is right now. Then I think if they add 4K 60p with a bigger battery, the Z type battery, I think it'll be huge. I think a lot of people, and then what you can do is, price it to sell. You know what I mean? Make it at $12.99 instead of $13.99. If you make it at $12.99, that extra few $100s that you're saving, but remember, APS-C is not Micro Four Thirds. APS-C is what people fail to realize, is that APS-C is exactly what Hollywood uses. They're not using full frame. I heard they're gonna start using full frame. Now you have Canon and even Sony possibly making full frame cinema cameras, but as of to date, right now, it's all APS-C. So you have your FS5, FS7s, Canon C200s. Those are all they're not full frame. So I mean, the industry is APS-C. Now we've been spoiled because when the Canon 5D Mark II came out, it was a full frame video camera that had it gave you the cinema look, and then the 5D Mark III took it to a next level, and then the 5D Mark IV really is in the grand scheme of things, they were probably a few years late with that camera when it came to the possibilities. I think a lot of more people would have been super happy if the 5D Mark IV came out maybe 2 years ago, 2.5, 3 years ago. I think they came out a little late with what they have. That's why a lot more people have jumped into the Sony ecosystem. And look, each year of their cameras, they have improved in one way or another. What I mean by that is, yeah, Sony's color science wasn't the best, but at this point, it has definitely improved a lot. Their autofocus is right there up there with the dual pixel IS, whatever the hell they call it. It's right there. It's not far off, especially when you have the eye autofocus and tracking face detection. I mean, look, my A7 III has 693 autofocus points. Top Tech, what's up, man? It has 693 auto points, right? So it covers 98% of the actual screen itself. Well, that equals out to being able to take way better photos, I think that this camera right here, in the next few months, you're gonna see the mainstream vloggers, okay, use this. They're gonna use this camera as their vlogging camera, because the autofocus on this is extremely good. Actually, I'm gonna do an autofocus test between all three of my cameras. So my 6300, my 6500, and then my A7 III. That's gonna be a video that I'm gonna be doing in the future. Leave a thumbs up or a comment down below if that's something you guys want to see, because I want to see how good it is compared to the actual other two cameras I have. Because honestly, the autofocus on all three of these have been fantastic. So much that I don't have to worry about it. You know, a one-man band type shooter like myself really the only thing that you need is your framing. So if you get a small monitor like this, I'll show you what I have. So I have the Field World 4K 5-inch monitor, and it's really nice. I have it on a small ridge cage. This is my 6300. This has become my C camera in a sense, and I am shooting right now with my A6500. So yeah, this little kit I have is amazing. And if they come out with the 6700 or 7000 series camera, the next APS-C, I'll sell one or two of these to get that. You know what I mean? So yeah, in the long story short, APS-C is not dead. It just makes it a little bit more of a challenge if you're thinking about getting this guy right here, because the focus, the specs that are on this thing, there's a reason. I rarely do just straight up unboxing videos, but the hype that I felt for this camera right here was amazing, and it's got over 21,000 views, and that's just an unboxing video. But I understand a lot of people are interested in this camera. This camera almost has it all. It almost has it all. The fact that it has dual card slots, it has this Z-type battery, it has the image stabilization, it has the 6K downscale to 4K. In fact, I saw today on Twitter where Dave Dovedale was saying that he now has had the Mark III on hand, and he says that the video quality coming off the Mark III is better than the R Mark III. So why is that? Well, because in APS-C mode, the R Mark III is, I want to say it is 5K to 4K, which again, you have to really be pixel peeping to notice it. But in the A7 III, it's a 6K to 4K sampling. So that tells you a lot. This is going to be insane what the S3 is going to be. A lot of people are saying the 4K. So check this out, my thoughts. So if they can make a sensor that downscales 6K to 4K, what's stopping them from just making the S3 a 6K? Would you rather have 6K or 4K 60p? Leave a comment down below about that, because that's interesting right there. Would you rather have 6K or 4K 60p? That'll be interesting. Like, they already have the sensor, they can already do it. They're just downscaling it, right? And the R Mark III is a 5K to a 4K, so they can possibly do it. And now that they have the bigger battery and the little bit bigger body itself, I think the hype is real when it comes to S. I'm not gonna get it because honestly, the low light that comes from this, I don't need a S. I think the people who will get the S, A7S III, are serious videographers. 4K at 60p. You rather have 4K at 60p? Okay, so Top Tech says he'd rather have Top Tech Talk. Ooh, a lot of T's there. Would rather have 4K at 60p. So, and I can see that. I could definitely see that being more interesting than just having 6K. But it shows you how crazy things are at this moment, that they even have we have the technology to do that stuff, which is fantastic. It's phenomenal. So we're really winning on all markets, and everyone else right now is kind of playing catch up. Everybody's talking about the Canon coming out with full frame mirrorless. It'll be interesting to see what they do with that. You know what I mean? Because they're gonna have to change out that lens mount. That'll be a big difference there. And then Nikon. I mean, Nikon for video. Like, who's using Nikon for video when it comes to a one-man band type situation? autofocus has played such a huge part in the way a lot of us shoot video now that it's just hard to imagine someone else like Nikon really being able to improve their autofocus to a degree where it's anywhere near what Sony's capable of doing right now. I mean, look at the GH5 and GH5S. Their autofocus is not very good because it's just contrast based. So, top tech talk. Oh, top tech talk says difference between 4K and 6K isn't noticeable enough to me. Well, one of the things you're gonna have to have is a 4K monitor to really look. If you're looking at 4K or 6K on your phone, is just not, or a tablet, it's obviously it's never going to be. It's just too much. It's just too much information. 720 on a regular screen looks fantastic. So 1080 and 4K, 1440p on a smartphone, yeah, you can't tell 1440p from 1080p on a smartphone. But when you're talking about a television, a monitor, that's when you start seeing the difference. But again, it depends on what a lot of people are watching. Their content, are they watching it on their TVs? Are they watching it on their tablet? I think mobile devices like tablets and cell phones are the majority of people. When it comes to like Netflix and stuff and you're just ready to chill and sit, yeah, I think the television becomes more of your home entertainment. So it's interesting, and now 4K televisions have been so affordable. I mean, like I have this one. This is a Hisense 60-inch 4K HDR active TV, and it's the picture quality is phenomenal. It's not true HDR, but it's a close enough representation through the software that they provide that it makes the picture even pop much more. So yeah, it's the technology is crazy. Another thing people are not talking about is with all this hardware that is improving, if you don't improve your computer, if you're not getting a good enough computer that can edit this stuff and has a strong enough CPU and GPU to handle it, then that's another thing. I think the fact that they're gonna have to increase another codec. So right now I think we're using 4.265 or 4.264. I think is the one we're using right now. So pretty soon they have to. It's gonna be 4.265 is what they're gonna have to use. I believe we're using 4.264. Can't remember off the top of my head right now. But yeah, they're gonna have to make another codec that can help bring some of this information down so that we're not being strangled by buffering and stuff like that. Because GPUs are expensive right now, but if you're editing on whatever preferred software, it has to be able to take advantage of all this information. So again, APS-C is not dead, but time will tell what Sony does with it. Okay guys, I am out of here. Thank you all for tuning in. I appreciate. Leave a like, comment if this is your first time to my channel. I don't do many live streams, but I will do live streams if I get enough feedback where people are saying that they enjoyed and got enough of this information down. So thank you for tuning in, and like I always say, till next time, I will see you around.